As Kendrick Lamar stands apart from the norm, he's witnessed one of the most monumental debuts in hip-hop history. Simultaneously, Drake's The Hard Part 6 has emerged as one of the genre's most scathing response tracks. As the dust settles between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, it's evident that Drake's entire career and reputation are crumbling before our eyes in a way that few could have predicted. With more rappers joining in to discredit Drake, it's clear that this cloud of trouble will haunt him in the foreseeable future. The ongoing developments suggest that things are only going to get worse for him. Despite opinions on the quality of the diss tracks released in this epic showdown, Kendrick has been winning at his own game. He's emerging from this feud not only with tracks that people deem effective and strategic, but also breaking records left and right. Whether it's Euphoria, which dethroned Drake's hit, or Meet the Grams, dominating the charts, Kendrick's impact is undeniable. Even more surprising is the fact that Not Like Us, a 1-minute cut of Kendrick's ruthless rhymes over an ominous beat from The Alchemist, is overshadowing Drake's tracks. This unexpected turn of events in hip-hop is topped off by Not Like Us, soaring to the top of the charts, breaking Drake's previous streaming records. With over 50 million streams in just 5 days, Kendrick Lamar's triumph isn't just a regular success. It's a complete annihilation of Drake. Everyone knows it, and as more people quote the impactful lines, it's reshaping the public perception of albums like Certified Lover Boy and terms like OVO. As the summer season approaches, it seems like we've just heard the most significant song yet. We'll be playing it outdoors this year, and it will be an anthem that utterly humiliates Drake to the highest degree. When we look at this, the fact that Drake has gone from being a chart-topping darling to a man who's burning completely in what could be called the most publicized hip-hop feud of all time is truly a mind-bending reversal of roles. Even though Drake resurfaced this week with an Instagram story clip, he's a man entirely on the defensive, trying to defend his empire from those trying to profit from his downfall. According to some hip-hop media insiders like DJ Academics and Adam22, another Kendrick diss track may be coming very soon. At this point, regardless of Drake's response, unless the track truly pushes the needle forward and does something explosively impactful beyond its musical quality, it might make people hyper-focused on Kendrick rather than Drake himself. A response from Drake at this point will likely backfire, as it's reminiscent of what Meek Mill tried to do to Drake after he fell charged and back-to-back in his head. No matter how solid Meek's lyrical performance was on Wanna Know, or how biting it might have been to insert Drake's alleged ghostwriter reference Quentin Miller in the track, in this situation and where Drake currently stands, no matter how good a rebuttal might be, it could still come off as weak. When the public makes a decision and associates you with any negative stigma your opponent has put on you, it's almost impossible to shake off after a diss track that truly shifts the culture. Looking back at a feud where two rappers were very close in terms of popularity and cultural respect, like Jay-Z and Nas, even though Jay tried to start a completely different round with Nas almost a year later and defend his battle strategy against Nas and his Lethal Ether diss track in his own track. No matter how good the song was sonically and lyrically, the public had already made a decision, and there was no way to change it. Even to this day, despite Nas and Jay-Z being friends, the loss Jay-Z suffered in the eyes of the rap world still haunts his legacy as the biggest blotch in his career. So, Drake's story has shown that trying to rewrite the perception people have of you after a rap feud is incredibly challenging and often futile. It always seems like you'll end up looking even more pathetic at worst, or simply fail at best. So when we look at Drake right now, whether he decides to give another response or simply continues letting Kendrick Lamar lead the rap game with now multiple of the genre's most significant songs seen in years that, aside from being big hits, are destroying everything he represents, he's now cornered. And no matter what choice he makes, it seems he'll always be guaranteed to lose. And when we understand this, we begin to see the bigger problem for Drake's career at the moment, which is that in the foreseeable future, he won't be able to escape the humiliation of diss tracks like Euphoria, Meet the Grams, and Not Like Us, and as a result, this era of his career will be severely hindered. If you think I'm exaggerating, we're already seeing the effects of a rap world that's valuing Drake at his lowest point ever, like in the track, One of One. Where on track 11, he still spits bars about erasing all the accounts that pay for his abs, which out of context sounds like any other Ghana bar. But after Rick Ross exposed to the world that Drake paid to get into the current physical shape he's in, and Kendrick Lamar not only talked about this same narrative, but exposed part of the method. Drake used to stay in this physical shape through the cover art we saw in the YouTube version of Meet the GRS. Ghana apparently getting into this controversy and all these wild speculations by validating his claims. And while this isn't anything far-fetched, saying the fact that someone like Ghana, who himself has been the target of many of the world's top rappers for his fallout with Young Thug and for being a snitch despite how much hate he receives, isn't concerned about belittling Drake and is actually just generating more rumors about his new project, because doing so shows that we're in a new era of rap where everyone hates Drake for the first time, which now worsens things. The only line of defense that Drake apparently has in this entire feud and the absolute annihilation of his brand and everything it represents, apart from guys like DJ Academics and Adam 22, is the game he played in this feud while defending Drake and criticizing one of his biggest rivals right now in Rick Ross with his new song, Freeway's Revenge, and with Game in 2024 being his biggest champion when it comes to rappers. Considering how he's apparently betrayed his loyalty to the people who helped build his career in recent years, like Dr. Dre and others, by fighting for Drake and helping him defeat one of his biggest rivals right now, he's going against his fellow West Coast artists to whom he even passed the torch on stage over a decade ago, and of course, Kendrick Lamar. This move has only earned Game even more hatred in this highly criticized era of his career, as he seems desperately hungry for attention and maybe even like he just wants to appear on Drake's next project to give his career a boost in the future. But overall, there's no way around it. This is just a bad look, as Drake is in an industry where there are so many artists and even those who have been considered relatively unproblematic like Pharrell Williams, and even to some extent Kendrick Lamar, have issues with him. Game joins Birdman as the only figures in hip-hop defending him, only continuing to tarnish Drake's brand and helping him on the path to becoming the biggest joke in hip-hop. At this point, where even Ghana feels it's okay to step on him like the rest of the rap world and pop culture, Drake is really at a point where if this continues and Kendrick's album, Not Like Us, becomes the absolute summer hit, his image will be tarnished like we've never seen before and, at this point, considering all the records Not Like Us is breaking, it's almost inevitable what will happen. So looking towards the future as the musical dynasty and corporate entity it has been, the Drake brand is finally starting to fall. Aubrey Graham will really have to think and evaluate what he wants to do next. Continuing this feud will simply be a bad move for him, which don't get me wrong. I'm here to see how Drake bounces back because if he does, we can expect more music from Kendrick, but overall, if Drake decides to respond to Kendrick again and Kendrick outplays him, he's most likely to lose again and furthermore, the more back and forth they go, Drake will become synonymous with Kendrick and everything he's been accused of. This will only further accelerate the destruction of his career. So, from here on out, the Toronto rapper is at a point where if he responds, he loses. If he stays silent, he loses, and with all other middle paths, he loses. And though Drake fans may try to complain and say this isn't fair or that we're giving Kendrick Lamar a pass to do this, this is the fundamental nature of what happens when you lose in rap beef, and it's really just testament to Kendrick's strategy of being able to push Drake to this point where he'll remain the laughingstock of the genre for quite some time. In reality, there's only one way Drake will be able to shake off all the jokes and negativity surrounding his name, and that will be if he can deliver a body of work that, regardless of whether he switches genres or simply goes all out and gives us something that's genuinely classic, is worth changing the entire narrative around his name because of how undeniably great it is. But beyond this, and with Drake's full albums in recent years being increasingly hated for feeling safe, stale, and sanitized, it really seems impossible, to some extent, for Drake to bounce back from this in the short term. So, overall, we don't know what Drake's next move will be, but we do know that with every passing second, Kendrick Lamar continues to dominate the charts with hits that buzz in the club, spark jokes, and overall go viral. Drake's legacy is being torn apart piece by piece, and as a result of all the stains that will be thrown on Drake's resume in the foreseeable future, Drake is now stuck facing a reality where the world's biggest artist has become the biggest joke. So let me know what you think about the current state of Drake's career and this feud as a whole. Do you think there's any chance for Drake to come back and change the narrative or public perception in his favor in the short term? I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Subscribe if you think Call ended Drake's career. See you soon, my legend.